Let's go.
Need to have a free hand. Everybody hear me all right here? How are you guys doing? First of all, I want to say it's great to be back to Lime Tree here. This artistic community in Warren, I mean, it's so great to see such a vibrant, really interesting, coherent group of artists, and it's so good to see a lot of young people here tonight, a lot of people supporting this whole creative project. Right? So I've got a couple of poems for you here tonight. I won't take up too much of this time, but this is one I dashed off earlier today. It's real rough. It's called The Turning of the Year. Another year. Another turning of the page, another turn around the godless sun, the mighty furnace that mirrors the fires of heaven, this place, this day. Another year as the world rages in war, wails in the grim realization of the dagger of mortality, quails before the tears of history, this place, this day. I think of the 300 Spartans and their slaves at Thermopylae readying themselves to die, but this was another year, another place, not this place. I want courage without oppression. I want power without authority. None of us slaves, none of us steeling ourselves against the winner of death, none of us above nor below, none of us going into the darkness alone, but into the light together. This place, this day. Let us begin the solemn task of building a better world. A more beautiful world united in our common goal, full of faith, unmelt, unbroken, and whole. I've got a couple more. They're all real short. This one I've never read before, right? I wanted to pick a few that I had never read before. This one is kind of dedicated to my friend Dandelion, right? Who's a herbalist, fantastic naturalist that I interviewed a couple years ago on my podcast, the Free Radical Media podcast. Fantastic activist. He kind of inspired this real short piece. It's called Dandelion. The dandelion pushes its way up through the pavement. The strength, concrete shatters, deafening row like rolling thunder. Why? People walk by. How do they not see the wonder? They think they will be saved. Some faith, some power, some wealth, obedience, glory, goodwill. Save us, they cry. Blind, how do they not see? Only that dandelion can save. I think it's pretty important to do political pieces lately, right? Activist pieces. I'm an activist myself. That's where I direct most of my energy. I think especially in this year and this time that we live in, it's incredibly important to be conscious of what we're doing, right? Art itself is political. All art is political, right? No matter what you're writing, painting, taking pictures of, right? All art is fundamentally political. So this is called a Small Revolution song. I love you. I love you, my friends, my lovers. I love you, though I have never met you. All men, my brothers, all women, my sisters. I love you, though you may be led astray in the fracas and fray of this, our bruised and battered world. Violence in the bombs, violence in the way we treat one another, violence on the lips, violence in the greed, violence in the poverty. We must be fundamentally dedicated to the cause of peace and of justice. I remember once I was in the streets and there was a small young girl standing tall and proud atop a car taking pictures of the lines of police. I thought of a song. She held her camera like a Bible, praying that it held some kind of truth. I know now that she was braver than any of us. Indeed, my brothers, remember, our sisters are so often braver than any of us, filled with light and determination, beautiful and strong. Remember also that the artists, the true pure artists who are driven by some inner demon to create, even at the expense of their comfort, even in their suffering, these people are the ones with the vision and the love to save us. Remember also that the poor are the blessed of the earth. For they know suffering and they know kindness, and their souls are tried and tested and tempered in the furnaces of this world's wrath. They shall rise and they shall be sublime. I take part in these things. I stand with the unwashed. I stand with the oppressed. I stand, and I will not be knelt. I love this world, and I love you, and I will never bow my head. I will not be silent. In the end, if all is finally lost, if we fail in our struggle, then I will take my lover's hand, and we will stand together at the gates of Armageddon themselves, and we will watch it all burn. Watch the magnificent glory of it, and I will know that I am clean. I have fought. Know this. When you are cold, when you are hungry, when you are alone, when you are lost, still the sun rises, and still the sun sets, and still I stand with you, and still, my friends, I love you.
Woo!
I got time for any more here? I have no idea how much time I've already sucked up here.
5 minutes.
Yeah? Right on. Okay. Let me see. Here we go. Now this one, this one's a little bit different. This one I wrote while sitting the first day of the Van Gogh display at the Butler Art Museum, right? So I sat down, I hold the whole gallery to myself, and I sat down, I'm staring at this thing, and this poem just came out. It's got like 4 different titles, but the one I like the best is written on 26 March when a Van Gogh somehow stumbled drunkenly into Youngstown. I'm drifting in the dunes, and maybe I'm somewhere in the south of France, or maybe I'm somewhere around San Sebastian, or maybe I'm in O'Hara's, New York, in the village in the 50s, or maybe I'm sitting in this dirty old town here in this museum. I'm staring at a Van Gogh, and I think how lovely it is to see the man's strokes. You can never see the strokes in the pictures. I can imagine his sainted master's hands pushing around the bits of metal and goo and whatever else in the paint, swirling, touching, caressing, and loving. Further away it resolves, and behind me there's a painting of Flanders Fields where the poppies grew over all those dead men's nameless graves from a boss's war. I think of them now dying on the fields Van Gogh painted, and I think of Frank O'Hara again, a poet among painters they called him. And I wish I was a great painter rather than a mediocre poet. But in any case, thinking of all this, well, I know Frank, he didn't take women as lovers, but he loved color. I knew he would fall in love with your eyes, as I have. I looked through this canvas window onto the dunes, and there is blue and white and green, and it is as bright as those eyes, and it's brighter than the sky. Van Gogh, he wrote the words so beautiful that one's imagination falls short of it. But the memory is always lovelier. I'm a madman as Van Gogh was a madman, but isn't the memory always somehow greater, my darling, like some warm remembrance of once seeing the sky, lying with you on the green grass of some hillside somewhere, maybe the south of France, maybe somewhere around San Sebastian, maybe in Central Park at O'Hara's forgotten New York, maybe somewhere in this dirty old town that has somehow found its way to have a Van Gogh, not to mention a Pollock. And it's so much better for having these things in it, and it is so much better for having your eyes to reflect the brightness of this sky that is in my memory.
Woo!
Let me just do one more. I've read this one quite a bit, but I really like it. So I just want to read it real quick, and then I'll get off the stage, right? Stray confessions as the head aches and Yeats lays dead. I look around me and I see Yeats crushed in the turning and the turning of our widening gyre. I look in the mirror and I see my sadness. I see my dark eyes vacant. I see the years washing over and over black like the sea. I look toward the ghost, cannot fail but cannot win, for there is no prize. I lie. I do not apologize. I do not say I love you enough. I look down at ink-stained pages, white like snow, black like the sea. I want you. I want your head on my chest. I want to slip my fingers through your hair. I want your laughter and your grace. I want morning coffee. I want twilight dreams with fingers interlaced. I consume, I devour, I turn and I crush. My heart I will serve to you freely, but my soul, darling, black like the sea. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. We come now to the last movement. We come now to the final stanza. We come now to the last full measure. I place my hand on the mirror and I believe that I will be forgiven. I believe we will all be saved. I believe that a hand will find mine in the darkness. Starlight burning hope through velvet skies. Black like the sea.
I love you.
My lovely wife. Well, that's really all I brought you guys tonight. I just want to close with a quote from Terence McKenna, fantastic philosopher right from the 90s and the 80s. He said, he said, the artist's task is to save the soul of mankind, and anything else is a dithering while Rome burns. If the artist cannot find the way, then the way cannot be found. And I think those are profound words, and I think through our creative urges here tonight, we want to change the world. We can do it through that creative power. And I want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting all this.
Yes.
Thank you.